Hey, welcome back to Lifesculptors podcast. I'm your host, Dante Poole. Here we have conversations about life and how to get to different and better places. And I'm so thrilled that I get to have these conversations with you. This month is the month of October. And in October, there's shadows and ghosts and the things that creep back into our lives even after we've tried to get rid of them, right? This is, oh man, but sometimes the creepiest things, they aren't haunted houses or horror movies. Sometimes they're relationships. I know, or habits, or uh, just things that seem to sneak back into our lives. And it makes me question whether or not they even sneak back in because sometimes we're just letting them in. Yeah. You know how you're watching the horror film and you see the person or the people headed towards something and you're yelling, "Don't do it." Like everybody knows, don't do that. But somehow in the movie, they do it anyhow. That's not just movies, that's us too. Sometimes we know that something is not necessarily good for us, but why do we keep letting it back in? And it's interesting because those relationships they promise us support and validation and even promise love, but over time all they do is hollow us out. So today's story is Creepy Crayon by Aaron Reynolds and Peter Brown. And I know I've been talking about and reading these stories about rabbits, but I don't know why, but they just seem to have a great theme, a great way for us to have conversations. So this is no different. On the surface, right? This book looks like a spooky and funny story, but if you look closer, it's a picture of how we get trapped and compromised in codependency, in situationships, in emotional breadcrumbing, even. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Creepy Crayon. Hmm. Jasper Rabbit was struggling in school. He was flunking math, he was failing spelling. The only subject he was passing was art. Jasper needed serious help. That's when he found the crayon. It was purple, pointy, and perfect. And somehow it looked happy to see him. That night, Jasper knew he had to study for his spelling test. But Tales from the Carrot Patch was on TV. By the time it was over, he was way too tired to study. The test was a disaster. Jasper couldn't remember how to spell a single word. That's when he noticed something strange. Jasper picked up the crayon, and immediately he spelled all the words correctly. Hmm. When he got his test back, he got an A plus and a sticker. The crayon looked pleased. Creepy, but cool. Hmm. After dinner, Jasper settled into play Bunny Brawl 3 on his computer on his gaming device. Math homework first, said Dad. Fine, moaned Jasper. That's when he saw it scrawled in a particular purple penmanship. Who needs math when you have Bunny Ball 3? 3 hours later, he fell asleep, his game in one hand, the purple crayon in the other. And when Miss Lopshire announced a surprise math quiz, Jasper panicked. He reached for a pencil, but instead his hand wrapped around the crayon. Suddenly, math seemed easy. He knew when to carry the one, he knew when to borrow from the bigger numbers. It was like the crayon knew exactly what to do. And after the quiz, he saw it written on his backpack: Jasper plus crayon forever. Jasper felt a shiver go up his spine. The next day was the deadline for the poster contest. Jasper had been working on his entry for weeks. It just needed a few finishing touches. The purple crayon rolled across the table all by itself, but Jasper ignored it. Don't ignore me, said the purple crayon. He shuddered, should I say. He scrubbed the writing off the table. He zipped the crayon into his pencil case, and he tried to forget all about the crayon. When he woke up, his precious artwork was even better. It was a horrifying masterpiece in purple. Fantastic work, Mr. Hoppy Pot, um, said to Jasper. You should be very proud. But Jasper didn't feel proud. He felt eked out, freaked out, creeped out even. When he got home, Jasper descended to the deepest, darkest corner of his basement. He put the crayon in a dusty box and locked it tight. He went to bed feeling much better. But when he woke up the next day, there on the mirror, "You need me," written in purple crayon. In his pencil case, the creepy crayon was there, and it looked happy to see him. That day, Jasper got all A pluses, and it was terrible. Enough was enough. Jasper snapped the creepy crayon in two. He melted it in the microwave, and he threw the mess into the garbage. He drifted to sleep that night, feeling relieved. But when he woke up, there on his wall was a mural of him graduating elementary school with straight A's, and worst of all, it was really well drawn. And next to it, the creepy crayon, purple, pointy, and perfect. All day, no matter what Jasper tried, the creepy crayon was there, looking oh so pleased. In his hand, as he aced his vocabulary test. In his pocket, as Miss Lopshire named Jasper Most Improved Student. In the crowd, as the school celebrated Jasper in a special assembly. Things were spinning out of control. Jasper couldn't make it. He couldn't take it anymore, should we say. And when he got home, he ran straight to the toilet. And he threw the crayon in it. It just floated there, spinning slowly. It didn't look so happy to see him. And then Jasper saw it scribbled inside the toilet bowl. Don't you dare. But Jasper dared. Flush that down the drain. That evening, Tales from the Carrot Patch was on, but Jasper studied for his spelling test. His eyes kept darting to his pencil case, no creepy crayon. He flung the toilet lid open, but no creepy crayon. He got into bed, nervously watching his walls. No creepy crayon. During the test, Jasper spelled ocean wrong, but he spelled courage right. He got a C+. It was glorious. It wasn't an A, but it was his. He headed home from school that day, finally feeling free. Far, far away was an old sewer pipe. Out and away floated the purple crayon. Slowly, silently, it drifted for days and weeks. One thing was clear. The creepy crayon would never cause trouble, ever again. Except that's when Elliot Pelican spotted the creepy crayon. It was purple, pointy, and perfect, and somehow it looked happy to see him. Y'all, creepy crayon, man. Oh my goodness. Oh man, there's so many elements in this story, right? The Jasper discovers this crayon, and it looks like it's there to help him with his homework and his schoolwork. His grades improve, and life seems to get easier. But the more he leans on the crayon, the less he feels like himself. And no matter how many times he tries to get rid of it, the crayon just keeps coming back. Isn't that how unhealthy relationships begin? Like they at first they feel good, right? It feels like I'm going to be supported, I'm going to be loved. They show up at the moment when I feel most vulnerable. And we say to ourselves, oh, Finally, I'm going to get the love I deserve. I'm going to get what I deserve. But what we welcome as help ends up hollowing us out. Mm. Oh man. Listen, most unhealthy cycles, relationship cycles, they follow a similar pattern, right? At first we're attracted, right? It feels good, it looks good, it arrives when we're lonely, right? It's like right on time. And then we become dependent on the relationship, right? We start relying on it more and more. We lean into the relationship. And finally, entrapment. Like we lose ourselves. And even when we try to escape, even when we try to break it off, it just seems to keep coming back. We keep coming back. And if you're not careful, you just think, hey, that's just Jasper stories. But if we're honest, it's been our story too. So why then do we stay in these cycles of unhealthy relationships? Like, why do we do it? And I want to tell you, it isn't because we're weak. Like sometimes we punish ourselves and we have these negative narratives in our head where we tell ourselves the only reason I'm staying is because I'm not strong enough to break away. I'm telling you, it's not about weakness. It's about our humanity. And we were designed to belong. We were created to belong. And so when what we were created to do presents itself, even if it's a counterfeit or unhealthy, we seem to get pulled in. We buy in. And I'm telling you, there are three things that are driving us to stay in the cycle. The first one is fear. We're afraid that like, what am I without this? What I can't make it without this. I like if this goes away, I'll have nothing. Whew. Or sometimes it's shame. It's like I've been in this so long. Like if I break it off now, what will other people think? Because nobody wants to be seen as someone with a failed relationship. Oh. Or the third thing. So, right, we got fear, we got shame. The third one is desperation. Like, we just want relief. We don't want to be lonely, even if it cost us. Oh my goodness. So the crayon gave Jasper success, but at the price of his agency. And that's the same trade we make when we compromise our values to keep someone in our life. Whew. Can I tell you this truth? What we tolerate becomes the relationship. Well, what you talk about, man? Okay. See, Jasper let the crayon stay for a moment. He didn't throw it away right away. And I'm telling you, he tolerated it. And it's the same for us in real life. If we tolerate manipulation, if we tolerate dishonesty, if we tolerate control, the tolerance becomes the basis of our relationships. Hmm. And listen, healthy relationships do require compromise. But in those healthy situations, compromise protects the wholeness of both people. But when compromise begins to erode your identity, it's not compromise anymore. It's surrender. Oh man, y'all, and this is not just theory. I'm telling you, there's research to support what I'm trying to tell you. You know, I'm going to bring you some research, right? So here it is. There's a study in the Journal of Substance Abuse and Treatment, and it says that codependency is something that often begins as support, but slowly becomes control. And the longer it goes on, the less agency you have. And in psychology today, there's a report that they gave that said 60% of adults admitted they tolerated behavior that violates their values just to keep the relationship. Y'all, that says that more than half of us are willing to compromise at what we believe in simply to avoid being left alone. Oh, man. There's a wonderful quote from Brene Brown. She says that boundaries are simply what's okay and what's not okay. And so I'm just telling you that your boundaries are telling you what's okay and what's not okay. And without boundaries, then what we think may be compassion or support collapses into codependency. And when we confuse surrender with generosity, I'm just trying to take care of them. I'm just trying to help, just trying to meet their needs. I'm just trying to, we holler ourselves out. Here's an interesting term. Like there's a group of researchers called attachment researchers, one like Dr. Amir Levine. And here's what they've shown us, that people have what's called an anxious attachment style. Like they often fear abandonment and crave constant reassurance. Oh, does that sound familiar to us? They may cling too tightly or compromise too much, it says, or even ignore red flags. All because the thought of being left feels more painful than the cost of losing themselves. And y'all, if you scroll TikTok or Instagram, Facebook, or anything, Lemonade, whatever, right? You will see this everywhere. You know what we call it? Situationships. It's a relationship without clarity. They're more than a friendship, but less than a committed relationship. The boundaries are blurred. The expectations are lowered. And we normalize this as if this is the new way love works. This is not love, y'all. But here's the thing. Situationships are like the Creepy Crayon. They feel good at first. No, they do. They give us attention, connection, and even make us believe we're getting intimacy. All without labels. See, we use the word labels because we don't, when we use the word labels, it's like we limit the relationship somehow. The relationship becomes something else. Can I tell you something? Man, like Creepy Crayon, what begins as comfort often becomes compromise. Man. Oh man. And the research continues, right? That situationships are less fulfilling, less satisfying than committed relationships. Duh, right? But people stay because it still offers just enough hope, just enough connection to keep us hooked. Right? We break up and we get back together. We break up and we get back together. When you're in a situationship, somebody said, you're not single. You're in a relationship alone. That's so good. Right? Oh man. Okay. So situationships often come with this other term, emotional breadcrumbing. Man, when I heard that, I was like, oh, that's brilliant. Breadcrumbing, it's when someone gives you just enough to keep you hanging on. A text here, a social media like, right? They just hit you up real quick in your DMs, a little flirtation. That's a little bit, just enough attention without any real commitment or consistency. It feels like connection, but really, it's just crumbs. Breadcrumbing, it creates confusion and self-doubt and maybe even some anxiety. You never quite know where you stand. And the scary part is it works like this intermittent reinforcement. It's the same principle used in gambling. You don't win every time, but you win just enough to keep playing. Like some of y'all just had a moment. We were like, dang. Yeah. See, yeah, somebody's playing you. They are. They're playing on your emotions. They're playing on your desire to not be lonely. This is to keep you close enough so that they can play with your feelings, your emotions, and have you, right, as something to do, not someone to be with. Hmm. In relationships, breadcrumbs keep us waiting for the next sign of care. That's what they do. Even when we know deep down inside it's not enough and they don't really care. And over time, what we do is we start lowering our standards. We start accepting the crumbs instead of asking for the whole loaf. That, y'all, is Creepy Crayon again. It's just giving enough help just to keep Jasper hooked, but never really letting him be whole. I'm just, you deserve better than a situationship. And here's the lie we believe. We believe that better is not available or out there because it hasn't come to us yet. It's a lie. Better is available. It is out there. There are people out there who aren't just trying to have a situationship with you. They really are working to build meaningful, committed relationships. So here's the good news. If there are unhealthy cycles can be broken. Yeah, cycles can be broken. And so it's not just saying I'm done with this, right? Because Jasper tosses the crown away, but it keeps coming back, right? It isn't until he makes a really clean break from it that things start shifting for him. But that's how toxic patterns work. Right? You think you're getting rid of them, they just come back. You got to make a really clean break. Like, not just on the trail. I got to flush this thing down the toilet. I got to send it far, far away. I got to create a different kind of boundary for this thing. See, and breaking free, it requires, I'm going to give you 3 steps, right? Here's the first step. First of all, I got to call it what it is. I got to recognize what's unhealthy. I can't keep pretending like this is something that it's not. I got to call, like we say, I got to call a spade a spade. This is not healthy. This is not good for me. I got to recognize what's really happening. And I always tell you that change always begins with awareness. And then after I recognize, I got to reclaim my agency. I got to stop letting things tell the story for me. I've got to start writing the story for myself again. And that means I've got to take hold of what's happening and start recreating boundaries that help me and be careful of the conversations that I'm telling myself. I got to reclaim the power of my story. And sometimes the lie we tell ourselves is nobody wants us. Nobody wants to be with us. There's nobody out there for us. This is not true. It's not true. Okay. Here's the last one. I got to replace the hollow with something whole. I got to stop settling for this situationship. And I got to require something more. I got to require something. And y'all, it's not just a one-time decision. This is a daily commitment. It is to choose wholeness over hollowness every day. I got to make that decision over and over again, right? Because it's important that I recognize that it's easy for things to creep back in if I don't put practices in place to keep them out. So let me ask you this, and I don't want you to just glaze over or rush through these questions. Like, listen carefully. Who or what is a creepy crayon in your life? And where have you tolerated something so long that you have compromised your values? You have lowered your standards. You've allowed what you've tolerated to become the whole relationship. And here's the third question. What values have you compromised in order to feel loved or to simply not feel alone? Like, what would it look like for you to recognize, for you to reclaim and replace? Hmm. Again, I don't want you to rush past these questions. I want you to sit with them. You might even need to pause this podcast. You might need to make a pause so that I can think about those things. You were made for more than a situationship. You were made for more than being in a codependent relationship. You were made for more than being in unhealthy, toxic relationships. It's time to get rid of your creepy crayon. Mm. Hey, listen, this Halloween, there are going to be porches that have hollowed pumpkins sitting on them with lights inside of them, right? You were not made to be like them. You were not made and never meant to be hollow. Your story, right? It was never meant to be written by a creepy crayon or a toxic relationship or a cycle of compromise or emotional breadcrumbing. You were made to be whole, to live with agency, to be loved for who you truly are. Okay. Hey, listen, if this conversation has resonated with you, like if you've identified anything in here, like you know somebody who needs to hear this conversation, I need you to share it with them. And do me a favor, would you like and subscribe also? And if you're looking for a resource to help you with this, my book, Developing a Durable Mind, is available to you. I'm just saying. Don't miss any other episode because I'm telling you, there's good conversation happening here. And remember this, you are exactly enough. Till next time.